hepatitis B virus and the mutant and the resistant to ID4. Definition: Hepatitis B virus infection in the preventile drugs effective by cancer in the blood and the important cause of the morbidity and the mortality globally. Application and use of the break that impacts at the carving in the significant and the vitamin and have been and the matter with recipe. At the third treatment of the shortening I he be big in the fashion and the edition in the liver, the sick and the improving on the coming and the cerebral and the tubular and can at the atrophy at the for the treatment of HBAB dog of the real liming being and the technophobia disc of proxy.
Hepatitis B virus serology. Hepatitis B is a viral infection affecting the liver. The disease goes through different phases which can be diagnosed by serology. Let's start with an overview of the phases. In adults, hepatitis B virus infection begins with an acute stage. More than 95% of affected adults will subsequently recover from infection, and less than 5% of cases progress to a chronic stage. Chronic hepatitis B virus infection is defined as persistent infection for at least 6 months. The term chronic infection, however, is associated with several phases. We'll give you an initial quick overview. Often, the first phase of chronic infection is the immune active phase. In this phase, the patient has a high viral load and there is moderate to severe inflammation in the liver. In a later phase of the infection, the host may develop a partial immune response to the virus, leading to low replication and remission of liver disease. However, the infection is not fully resolved but remains quiescent for a varying period. This phase is termed as the inactive phase, and patients are referred to as inactive carriers. There is another chronic phase that we would like to point out, the immune tolerant phase. This phase is observed when infection occurs before birth through maternal transmission or early in childhood. Early exposure to hepatitis B virus leads to T-cell tolerance towards the virus, resulting in minimal inflammation in the liver despite a very high viral load. The immune-tolerant phase lasts an average of 30 years and progresses into a phase with active liver disease, which, in an even later stage, can resolve to an inactive carrier state. One consequence of the long duration of immune tolerance is that it leads to a high frequency of maternal-infant transmission in endemic countries. This list of chronic forms is not exhaustive, and there are further special constellations. However, if you keep these 3 phases in mind, immune-active, inactive, and immune-tolerant chronic hepatitis B, that's a solid basis. Serology.
Pause and the cause. I haven't died the statement until DEBER ID being used for HIV prevention and the HIV treatment there is a potential at the for HIV drug resistant developing in the people using technophobia contain regimen at the for prevention.
Hello everyone. Now today we will be discussing about the hepatitis B virus. Actually, we will main focus on the serology and the diagnosis of hepatitis B virus because it is very important. Okay, this hepatitis B virus diagnosis serology will be asked in your MBBS final exam, entrance exam, MD exam, DM exam, USM exam, everywhere. If you are clear about it, so Lord, at least one question you have to face in any entrance exam related to medical examination. Okay, so I'll try to make it very easy for you so that you can be able to sort out the question very easily, because this is, if you understand this very carefully, then you can get easily. Okay, so let's first you know to know about the hepatitis B virus. Hepatitis B virus is a DNA virus. So you know that there are hepatitis A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so and others are also there. So this hepatitis virus, and we are talking about hepatitis B. Other virus we will talk when we are revising the microbiology part. Okay, the virus part. So since we are talking about this video, I am making, one of my junior requested me, so I think it is better to make and make you clear, everyone. Okay, so hepatitis B virus is a DNA virus that is normally transmitted through the parenteral, that is from the blood. Then the sexual transmission, that during birth making and birthing, that is during perinatal, during delivery, before and after that also there is a chances of transmission of the hepatitis B virus. Okay, main thing you have to remember is parenteral, sexual and perinatal. Okay, now going further, we can see that this virus, when you get infected, there will be long incubation period. There is incubation period, prodromal active phase, then convalescence phase, whereas there is an early and late phase. This is the normal natural process of your disease. Okay, so when you talk about the presentations, look, this is your chart, this is your diagram where you know the natural course of your infection. This is your 0 hour. When you get infected, the antigen, look, this is the virus. Virus has three major components. There is the P is the G.
Issue applicant in the EQUA in the 26th of the describing their patient and the way hepatitis B virus HIV infection and the we were received that the 4.5 unexpected in the treatment fairly and lamivudine resistance and the hard public oscillate in developing in the days their passion and they had been successfully detected. The reaction will not free. Why not you listen and the sweet time on the treatment?
Hepatitis B is an infectious disease. Particularly in its chronic form, it is associated with severe suffering and even death. The outcome of an infection with hepatitis B virus is determined by the individual immune response. If this is insufficient, chronic hepatitis B develops. After HBV has entered a liver cell, genomic HBV DNA is transported to the nucleus, where it is converted into covalently closed circular DNA. This cccDNA functions as the template for the transcription of several viral messenger RNAs. These are exported to the cytoplasm and then either translated into viral proteins or packed into nucleocapsids and converted back into viral DNA. A newly formed virus is released from the cell, as is the hepatitis B surface protein, detectable as HBs antigen in the serum. If the patient's immune response is inadequate, the virus can proliferate. Among other viral markers, serum levels of both HBV DNA and HBs antigen rise. The HBs antigen level is an important diagnostic parameter. Persistent HBsAg levels are associated with increased risk of HCC. Clearing HBs antigen and/or seroconversion is closest to a cure in the treatment of chronic hepatitis B.
Conclusion. Either we consider a comparable antiviral efficacy and determine and the low risk is of the treated as resistance and the low root cause, and the read better at the type potential, and the TDS monitor the grappling and the wall, and the be under reasonably ocean, and the 4D 20 minutes of passing.
Okay, so finally we have reached the stage where we will look at the hepatitis B lab diagnosis. Okay, so basically here what and all you want to detect these antigens like HBsAg, HBeAg, HBcAg. These are the normal antigens you want to detect. And antibodies, what you can detect, antibodies against the HBs, antibodies against the HBe, antibodies against the HBc. Then you have molecular markers like you can detect the DNA, right, of the virus. Then you can see non-specific markers like elevated liver enzymes, serum bilirubin, same thing that you have seen in hepatitis A lab diagnosis, same thing, okay? Similar. Now coming to these antigen markers, look at them in detail. So basically how can you detect antigen or antibody? By ELISA, etc. Correct? So actually this graph is very, very important. You have to draw this in the exam. It is not at all difficult to draw this diagram. Look at this. The x-axis is nothing but time, months. Okay, this is months of exposure. Just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 here. Y-axis, don't label it at all. Not at all required. Now, just look at here. The first thing that appears is the surface antigen. Obviously, right? Surface means it's outside. So first thing that will appear is surface antigen. Then the surface antigen level declines and then the antibodies to the surface antigen appear. Okay, now this much you understood? The red and pink you understood. Now come to this purple. This is nothing but the pre-core antigen. The next to come out will be what? Obviously the next thing inside the virus, right? That is the pre-core antigen will come out. Then this level will go down. Then the antibodies to this pre-core antigen will increase. Okay. Now look at this green line. Green line is nothing but the anti-HBc. That is, this is depicting only the antibodies because the core antigen is not secreted. It doesn't come to the circulation. So only the antibodies to the core antigen will be present in the blood. In this antibody, they have divided as IgM and IgG. That's all. Okay, it is not difficult. Just pay attention to what is written here. Initially, they are calling it as incubation period, then a prodrome period, then a convalescent stage.